And welcome to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Bonny Hut, who is an artist. Welcome to the program, Bonny.
Thank you.
Can you tell us how you first got started as an artist?
Well, I first got started as an artist when I started drawing all over my maths books when I was young, and yeah.
So you preferred art to maths. And what inspired you to pursue a career as a painter and artist?
I think it's something I've always done and always been interested in, and just had to follow my calling.
Yeah. And how would you describe your style of artwork?
I would say it's a bit hard to pinpoint, but it's probably more along the lines of photorealistic surrealism. So,
because you manage to capture, like, you can really see the face, the features and everything, and sometimes there are some kind of like very frightening looks on people's faces in your artwork. Why are they so scared?
Well, I like to paint the shadow and I like to paint the light. So when I am painting shadow work, we all have a shadow self, which is an interesting part of ourselves that a lot of people like to put on the shelf and not look at, whereas I like to embrace the shadow and then transmute my shadow self, in other words, deal with my stuff.
Yeah.
And you can only get to the light, in my perception, by moving the dark clouds away from in front of the sun. So, and sometimes people who don't like looking at the shadow paintings, sometimes they don't resonate with it, or sometimes they don't like looking at their own shadow self. So as I say, my darkness is on the wall for everyone to see, and then I can move along. Yeah,
that's a beautiful way of living too, like to embrace the difficulty and then go beyond it, but don't ignore it. It's there if it's there.
Yeah, embrace it, deal with it and move on.
Yeah. A lot of time people don't like to face it though, do they?
No, no. Whatever you, as I say, leave on the shelf festers and gets bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And have you had many art exhibitions, or you hold exhibitions?
Well, at the moment, I mostly run my exhibitions from my gallery that I run.
Beautiful. And you're also running an art school yourself. Can anyone learn to paint, even if they've had no experience as an artist at all?
Yes, anyone can learn to paint, and it actually takes different ingredients than what people think it takes. People think it takes talent to learn, but it actually just takes an interest in the subject matter. Like, I can learn to become a motor car mechanic, but I just don't have much interest in it. But also it just takes an ability to be able to learn.
Yeah.
So some people find learning easier and some people find learning more difficult. And sometimes that's got a lot to do with their ability to concentrate and absorb information. So if you can learn, then you can learn to paint.
And how was your experience for learning? Did you study to be an artist, or what was your process that you went through?
I did go to art school. I studied fine arts and I also studied graphic design, although I don't think it's always necessary to go to art school, because a lot of what I learnt about painting I actually taught myself, because sometimes it was, it's just the way it goes.
You develop.
But
do you find that to make it better, like, does practice make perfect, would you say? Because, you know, you can see the very detailed eye lines and the shadows and the dark and the light in your paintings. Do you find that you develop that over the years? Practice makes perfect?
Practice definitely makes perfect, but you can also practice badly. So it's the same as music. You do, even if you don't go to art school, in my perception, you do need assistance. Even if you assist yourself by doing the research on how to paint properly.
Because you went further to do some research as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of research to know how I do things to be able to teach it. Because a lot of the stuff I was doing was kind of automatic and I didn't exactly know how I was doing it. So, and again, that's one of the best ways to learn anything, is to teach it.
Yeah. And where would you say you get your inspiration from all the paintings? Do they vary? Do they come naturally to you, or are you looking for it?
Well, art in general and creativity comes from a space of no mind. So, I mean, you speak to actors that do theatre, sports and all that kind of thing, and they make up these amazing statements and amazing stories on the spot. And I say, where on earth did you get that from? And they said, I wasn't thinking. You know what I mean? Because it comes from the right-hand side of the brain, and in order to access that marvellous creativity, you don't think. But to get to that point, you do need to have the left-hand side of the brain, which is the technicalities,
working
practiced.
as well,
Same as music again.
Yeah.
You learn the notes, the scales and the keys and whatever else, and then the creativity just flows through.
Yeah. And what inspires you to paint?
Again, like, a lot of that comes from the subconscious. I don't know.
Yeah.
My conscious mind doesn't know.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff.
It just is. It's one of those things.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I just paint the stuff and I don't know where it comes from, and then further down the line the meaning appears to me. Like, then further down the line I find out what it is.
Okay.
And I've also painted people and then they've turned up like I'd never met them before.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, they've turned up like further down the line. So
wow.
Consciously I don't always know.
That's beautiful. We're about to go to a break now. You're watching Visions. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with artist Bonny Hut. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? You come from South Africa, and a bit about your history there.
Yes, so I went to art school in Africa. It was quite fascinating, quite beautiful. There's no vibe other than, I mean, as amazing to me as Africa. And when I was at art school, it was in the middle of the changeover when Mandela took over from first year to fourth year in art school. It was quite amazing, quite a profound change, even from even at the uni, from the first year to the fourth year. Because at my first year that I was in, there was hardly any black students in my uni, and by the time I was in fourth year, it was probably about 70% black.
Wow!
Yeah, which is great.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so, and we had some
beautiful.
fantastic artists,
Yeah.
new artists come in.
Yeah.
And
did all this help you and influence you in your artwork at that time?
well,
Such positive changes happening?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few clashes with some of the lecturers because I wanted to paint Africa, and I was only really at the time interested in painting black people because I was surrounded by them, and you know, it inspired me. And they weren't happy with that. Yeah. Because they said I must paint something that's true to myself, but that was true to myself. But anyway, it was, and it was quite interesting.
You've got an amazing photo of a lady behind an elephant. Can you tell us about that story?
Well, that was actually a painting my dad wanted me to paint for him because I owed him lots of money.
Well, that was nice of him. I won't give you the money, but I'll draw you something. That's beautiful.
Thanks, Dad.
So tell us about that. What did he want done?
It's called It Began in Africa.
Yeah.
And it's just basically, I have painted quite a few African paintings and just about embracing some of the spirit of that land, which is so culturally rich, and the music and the art that comes out of that country is phenomenal.
Right. And there's so much life as well in the people, isn't there?
It's very vibrant.
Yeah, amazing. And they're such good musicians.
Yes.
Yeah, and singers and dancers. It's so full of life. And some of the other artwork, there's another painting of a lady, I think she's kind of like praying in the midst or something with long flowing hair. What's that about?
That is called Eye of the Storm. It's about remaining centered amongst chaos.
Ah, beautiful.
So it's something I feel we need to learn.
Yeah.
When we're surrounded by turmoil and this and that, all of that is just to show us what can throw us off our center. And if we can remain calm and centered throughout it all, then we're pretty all right.
And how do you remain calm and centered throughout